Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I want to show you how to make some Flexi toys using one of the MakerWorld's programs for their Flexi toys. Okay, these aren't the articulated, cute little pets that you see maybe printed out here and there. Those do require a little bit more work and learning how to sculpt on a program, but there's still cool ways to incorporate Flexi toys into your own products that you are creating using free programs. Okay, if you didn't see my last video about how to create my duck, check that out. That is using ChatGPT image generator and the image to 3D model generator on MakerWorld. But today I will be showing you a similar path, this time with Flexi toys. All right, so let's get right into it. All right, so we're going to be using ChatGPT once again, like we did on my duck tutorial. And if you guys aren't familiar with this, you can go ahead and log into your account or create your account and you can start generating images. So we're going to ask ChatGPT to help us create an image that we can turn into a Flexi model. So let's prompt it to create a cute 2D image of a cartoon squirrel. Okay, so we don't need to tell it to do anything as far as making it 3D ready. We just want a flat image because that is going to be how we create our model. Okay. All right, so here's the image of the squirrel it created. It looks wonderful. I really like this look. Now, part of the problem, I think, with this one is that the tail connects to the head. I don't know if it can generate it where the tail and the head are separate. I'll show you why that matters a little bit later. But also, there's so much different shadings in here. So I'm going to ask it to generate it with a white background with only 4 colors used on the squirrel and to separate the tail and the head. And we'll see the results that we get. So I'm simply going to say, can you recreate this image with more spacing between the tail and the head, ensuring that they are not touching. I also want a white background, no shadow under the squirrel. And for the squirrel to only be made with 4 colors. All right, that's a big prompt. We're gonna go ahead and see if it can understand and execute on that. All right, guys, wow, look at the difference on this. They had executed my request perfectly. Now, this image here is fantastic. I love this image. Put on a graphic t-shirt, whatever the case. But when we're trying to print with an AMS, I mean, you want to break it down to 4 colors. Shadows complicate things when you're trying to make it into a toy. The touching, I will show you why that I don't want that in my model. But my gosh, it listened to my request. It executed it perfectly. This is a 4-color model, white background, no shadow, and separation between the tail and the head. So this is exactly what I was looking for. Now let's move forward with the image and show you guys how to turn this into a toy. So I'm gonna go ahead and download it. And let's hop into the MakerWorld program. All right, guys, we are once again on MakerWorld. You guys are familiar with this from my last video. These are the tools up here, the different areas of the website. We want to go to MakerLab once again. On MakerLab, this is the Flexi Toy Maker program right here, and this is what we want to use. As you can see with their models, they add hinged separations so the model can flex back and forth, and they're all made pretty much out of a flat 2D cartoon image, right? Great for this type of hinge Flexi toy. So let's go ahead and hit start right here. And as you can see, I've made some of these in the past, experimenting with different styles. Of course, our new squirrel is going to look different than our old squirrel. So you're going to want to hit new project right here. And you're going to want to upload your image that you downloaded. All right, so once you click on your image, it's going to load it like this, image processing, and it asks you for a few things that you would like to do. Would you like to remove the background? And they'll prompt you with different tutorials explaining what those are. Okay, removing the background may cause image defects. If your image has a solid background, please keep it and make it transparent later. Ours has a white background, but I went ahead and removed it anyway, and the lines look pretty finished. That's what helps, right? If you have a white background, it really helps the background remover identify colors from that solid white background. So we've got a great toy here. You can make it smaller or you can make it bigger. I guess I will push it close to the edges, not quite to the edge, but push it close to the edge. And I'm happy with this, all right? There's different ratios I don't really mess with those. I leave it on the free ratio. I pull it up towards the edge, but not all the way, okay? Pull it up towards the edge and then go ahead and hit confirm. All right, and we've got our color mapping right here. Even though we asked for 4 colors, it actually identifies 8 colors, all right? So I'm still gonna go here. I'm gonna reduce it down to 4 and hit next. So right here, it's recognizing that we like these 4 colors. Now, one of these is an inside shadow, right? You can see the striking bold outline of the dark brown, the inner light brown, and then the tan right here. So it's really a 3-color model, but it's saying, hey, there's some inner shading in there. If I hit X on this, I'm going to want that inner shading to just join the dark brown, right? It's between these light and dark brown. Have this just join the number 1. Okay, say, hey, I just need that to be the same color as this. The reason you don't want to eliminate that completely, and hopefully we don't have that problem, is sometimes it will leave out some of the coloring in here and identify it as actually like there's nothing there. So you'll actually be missing a piece of your model. You don't want that to happen. If that's happening, we'll figure it out. But hit confirm right here. I've got my 3 colors being used. I hit confirm. And then you can see it added its own idea that, hey, this outer section should be that light brown. It thinks that makes the model look even cooler. I might be for that or I might be against it, but let's move forward and we'll figure that out. So we've got our model right here, and now that I'm thinking about it, that makes that connection there that we wanted, that separation between the tail and the head. So let's see what does thickness do right here. Thickness is making the thickness of your model, right? Millimeters. So how fat do you want that to be? Now that's something we can mess with in Studio as well. So I typically like the thickness of my model, so maybe be about 3 millimeters. Is it telling me 4.2 is the smallest? Sure. 4.2, fine with me. Hey guys, quick disclaimer. I would suggest leaving the thickness now at 6 millimeters to 8 millimeters thick, and then just scaling your model after you generate it from this program, okay? Adjusting the slider there, I have had failed prints where the hinges and joints completely fall apart. I've only had success at 6 millimeter and above personally. You guys experiment with it if you want to, but that is my suggestion, okay? Middle layer color. Now this, imagine your model is 4 millimeters thick, okay? It's printing this image that you see here only on the bottom and top half. So think of it like an Oreo. This bottom and top half of the Oreo, the cracker, is going to be this color. But then that cream on the inside, it's going to be one solid color, because that's going to make sure your model doesn't take too long to print. So you decide, out of all these colors that you have, in case of this model, it's going to be 3 colors. What color makes the most sense to you for that inside model? I sometimes go with whatever the border color is. So this border color might be the dark brown. I am okay with the interior of the model also being dark brown, right? But that's your choice. It really doesn't matter which color you choose. That's just the cream to your Oreo, okay? The middle layer color. So enable edge bevel. If you turn it off, this is what it looks like. If you turn it on, this is what it looks like. So you can see it's adding that brown layer out there. I'm okay with that. And the bevel layer, it says improves the toy's feel, so it might be kind of like a tapered, angled edge, so it doesn't have such hard edges. Okay, it actually has a slight bevel to it, a slight slope to it, so it feels better. Bevel distance, I'm just going to leave it at 0.4 millimeters, but you can make that more noticeable or less noticeable. Now the stroke, this should be that light tan that it automatically chose to add by itself. A lot of times I enjoy this stroke. This time, just because it's connecting the model, I may not want that, right? I can reduce it to that point, but what's the point anymore of keeping it if you can't really tell? So I'm actually going to turn off that stroke. I no longer want that stroke. With a lot of models, I will use that. It's personal preference. This model, I want to show you why I want the tail separated, okay? So we turn that off. Image colors, it's saying, hey, these are your image colors. Are you sure you still want to move forward with this? Pretty much. Yep, I'm okay with that. So let's get into the hinges. How now do we make this model flexi, and where do we add those hinges? Well, that's going to be up to you, but we've got the hinge setter right up here, and it wants to know, do you want thin hinges, medium hinges, or thick hinges? For these small flexi toys, I tend to like thin, but you can choose whatever it is that you want. You can choose whichever one you want for your model, and you could even see on the preview screen right here what it's going to look like. So for this model, let's say I want these ears to hinge, right? I want them to be flexy. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now this little green circle here is telling you where your stop and your start point for that line is. If I want these ears to bend, I need to go across this angle, right, to get that ear to have its own separate hinge. Now I believe you have to click outside the model. Let's see if we click inside the model, it's showing it's red. The hinge is invalid. Please adjust the hinge position. I double click, it is red. That hinge will not work. It's letting you know. But you can simply grab the bubble and move it. Now I have one on the outside, I have two on the outside. Perfect. That's how it wants to identify where you want your hinge. I can do the same thing on this side. Make the ear, boom, we have two hinged ears now that will work. And it's up to you how many or how little of your model that you want to flex. That's up to you. I can add one here for the head, and it's telling you the degree too. If you want it completely straight and you don't want to rely on your hand kind of figuring out where that straight position is, you can simply hold shift. Shift will hold it at northwest, south, and east position. You can see, and you can even get the diagonals, 45 degree, 135 degree. So that's perfect. It will sit on those axes. Okay, so if you're worried about having a lopsided line, hold shift while you drag this line, and there is another hinge placement. Now you can see, you're asking yourself, why are these two hinges aiming up, but this one chose to aim down? This is deciding the best angle that it thinks that hinge should be at, but you can flip that joint. You can actually tell it, nope, I want all my hinges to head north, right? All of them heading up, and I just did that there. I think it looks better if they're all on the same angle, if they're all aiming up or they're all aiming down, but that's up to you. Now, in addition, you have this, add a joint. Okay, right now it has one joint, which will flex, but hey, maybe you want two joints, maybe you want three joints, you want four. That's up to you. You can add as many as you want on here. If you want less, you simply just got to click the hinges and hit delete, but notice that it no longer slides them to where they were before. It kind of kept them in a central position to this line, but once you add them and you start deleting, it just leaves them wherever they are at. You can slide them manually on your own, get them into a position, but I like using the program to decide for me. I like having it do all the heavy lifting, so I'm actually going to delete this line and I'm just going to reapply it. I'm okay with it choosing where those hinges are going to go. Once again, I like aiming them all in the same direction, but at a thicker portion, such as this head, I might add two hinges. And if I go down to this cheek area and I say, hey, let's add a hinge now, I wouldn't want to add one here because it's actually crossing over one of the thin whiskers. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hit delete, and I'm just going to say, actually, I will hinge it right down here about the neck area. I want them aimed up. I want to add about 3, and I'm going to hit, oh, I hit enter, so it did 4. If I hit Control Z, it will undo. Hitting Control Z actually got rid of that additional hinge that it added. But you can see right here, at the thicker portions of your model, maybe you want more. Maybe you want more. That's what I like to do. Is there a science behind this? Maybe. Do I know that science? No. I just go with what I feel. So the smaller portions only have 1. A thin portion here has 2. A thick portion here has 3. Now, the reason I wanted the tail to be separate from the head is because I want to be able to flex the tail one way and the body the other way. If I'm a little kid playing with this, or somebody who just has to keep my hands busy when playing with this toy, I want to be able to feel as much flex in this model as I can. So I think that's the fun about having these. So let's go back to hinges. Let's add more. Here's one on the tail. Since it's a thicker period, I might add 2. Add another one down here. Once again, you can do whatever you want, man. If you're seeing me make this model, you're saying, man, you could have done so much more. I encourage you guys, that's what these videos are for. Go in there and do your best. Make your own models, right? So I'm just kind of adding hinges wherever I can see that they can be placed. Is that the best way to do this? Maybe not. Maybe not, but it's a fun way. Now right here, you don't always have to go completely parallel. I could do an angled body hinge right here, guys. I would just do that to show you guys. I'm going to go ahead and print this model so you guys can see what it's like, but I will add a angled hinge there as well. So this is how easy it is. I want you to know though, it won't let you cross hinge, okay? So if I'm trying to do something crazy like this, that just makes no sense mathematically designing this, right? It's telling you, dude, this does not work. We will not let you do something crazy like that. Obviously, I'm cross hinging. I am breaking the model. It is not going to be possible to have that pathing, but you can still add a crazy one on the inside like this, right? Just some random hinge like that. As long as you're not crossing the paths of the hinge, it will let you do it. That doesn't mean that your model is going to work. You can print it and then you'll realize, wow, this flexing is terrible. Why did I add such weird directions in here, right? But this model right here, it's going to have flex at the ears. The head has double, the body has double, the tail has 3. I'm satisfied. I can print this, and if I find out that, hey, this actually isn't a great model, I actually don't like the way it is, this program will save it for you. So you can come in here and edit it after the fact. You print it, you figured one of the hinge placements you had didn't work, or you should have had more hinge placements because it still doesn't feel like a fun model. You can come in here and edit it after the fact. So we're on the design tab. If we go to the preview tab, it's going to show it for you on the build plate, which is actually pretty cool. All right, if it's your first time checking it out, it'll give you a little tutorial type stuff. See how your flexi moves, drag to swing, and observe its motion. That is pretty cool. Actually, I didn't know that you could do all that. So we've got our model here. Let's drag it to swing it. There you, dude, how great is that? You can see the motion of your flexi before you even print it. Are you satisfied? You know, are you satisfied? I wonder, can you move the camera around? I don't see where you can do that. Reset model position. This is just cool though. This is cool. You can move it up and down. You can see the bends. You can grab it by different areas to really get a curious, you know, understanding of how it works. I mean, that is awesome. I think this works really well. I'm happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and download it now. So we hit download. It wants you to print, select your printer that you'll be printing on. I'm going to do it on my A1. And your nozzle size, I always do a 0.4, but if you want 0.2, that'd be great. I'm gonna hit confirm here. Your make is ready. Just like our other model, it asks that you let people know it's fine for commercial use, but you just let them know that you use their program to do it, okay? So you can download the 3MF, which will be full color like the model we have here, or you could download the STL, which will have no color, guys, but the STL will allow you pull this object into any slicer that you're using. The 3MF, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is only for Bambu, but that's what I'm going to do. I want all the full color. All right, so our model is downloaded, Flexi Draft. Let's go ahead and open it. All right, guys, here's our model. You know I have a thing with orientation, so I'm going to have to grab it. I'm going to change it to this direction, and there we go. We've got our little model on our build plate. The size, I don't know if I'm gonna want it at this size. Let's see, it's about 100. I might do smaller. I like some small flexes. I think smaller flexes are pretty fun to play with, so I'll do 85 at the max. I did that by hitting the scale button right here, guys. At the x-axis, the biggest axis, I put 85. I'm going to try that. And once again, remember it was asking your thickness. You can choose your thickness right here. I typically think maybe 3mm thickness would be fine. But if I do that, it's going to change the whole scale. So check it out. So if I do 3 right here, it's going to change the whole scale of my model. I don't want that. So I'm going to hit Control-Z, take it back. And you want to hit uniform scale when you want to just only change one of these parameters. For me, it's typically once I'm making the thickness, I will unclick uniform scale, hit 3, hit enter, and now it only changed the thickness of my model. So let's go over a few things here. We've got our model, the thickness. Remember, we were talking about the cream in the Oreo. Only the top and the bottom have color, okay? The top and the bottom of the Oreo have color. All the inside of this model is all the outer color, which would be like a black, a dark brown, whatever you want to use. All of that is going to be one solid color. It makes the printing faster. It won't take quite as long. The beveled edge, you can see it here as I zoom in. This is the beveled edge, guys. It doesn't have a rough 90-degree angle that will hurt fingers. It has a nice little slope right there for you guys. And you remember, in the model maker, you can make that slope even bigger, or you can make it even smaller. It's up to you. I suggest having that bevel. That bevel is actually very nice. So we've got our model here. I'm gonna spend some time printing this thing. Let's see how long it's gonna take. So we slice the model, and it's telling it's gonna take about an hour and a half total time. That is great. If I switch to filament, right, you got to switch right up here to color scheme, go to the filament selection, and you can see your colors again. So that is great. Only an hour and a half. Excited to see what this little guy turns out to be like. Just notice that the hinges are pretty small, right? We did put the small ones. If you feel like those are too small for your model, feel free to add the thicker ones, and you might get a result that you're happy with. I think I'll be happy with this one. Let's get it going. Hey, what's up, guys? We got our squirrel right here, finally done. Let's see if it's gonna lift off the build plate. All right, it came right up. We've got the flexi happening right there, man. There it is. I'm gonna show you my favorite part, which is gonna be the textured part. It looks more clean. Man, look at that. It came out wonderfully. All the flex is there. If you're curious, I mean, look, it works great. There are some disclaimers that you would have seen in the video by now. I don't know why. My filament must just be dried out. I do live in Texas, and we get terrible humidity, so that must be some humidity there happening on the surface, but the other side looks great. I mean, this is just a great model. This is what we were after. All right, so as you guys can gather, it's a different day. I'm going to tell you why that is, but here's the model. We just looked at it on my phone. I will try once again to get it up here for you guys. Look at that. There he is rocking there, little ears that move, head moves, everything is working as intended. I mean, that is fantastic. There's that sideways hinge. Here's the sideways hinge on the body that we put. It seems to work great as well, but there we go. Sorry, little squirrel. All right, so now the disclaimer was, as you guys saw, I tried changing the thickness of the model and even the size, and I didn't have the best results. In the past, I had great results. This time, not so much. So you guys go ahead and mess with those settings and see what you get. But with this model, the way I had a successful print was doing 6 millimeters thick and leaving the size of the model just the way it was generated. I would try, if you guys are interested, doing somewhere between 6 millimeters to 8 millimeters thick, and then you can scale that model bigger or smaller. Okay, I think that's the trick. I think maybe don't adjust the thickness, because it made the outer walls too thin, and the piece would just break apart all at the joints and the hinges when I try to take it off the build plate. So that is my disclaimer. That is my recommendation to you guys. Somewhere between 6 and 8 millimeters thick. Leave it there, and then you can scale your print bigger or smaller if you want to, and try printing it in a solid color first if you want to, just to make sure those hinges work just fine. I hope this video was exactly what you guys were looking for. I hope you found stuff worth using, and please let me know down in the comment section if you've got other video requests that you want to see me make in the future. All right, thank you guys so much. Have a great one. I'll see you next time. Peace.